topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the camping show. This is CW Gets. It's Wednesday, May 5th, 2021. We have a beautiful 70 degrees sunny day here in Chicago. It's perfect spring weather. I'll tell you what, though, I like the 80-85, and we're going to be getting some of that very, very soon. Everybody will be out there in their kayaks and their canoes around here. I know everyone's itching to do that. We have got a great show here for you this evening, a very special show. Tonight's episode is Canada's Voice for Outdoor Adventuring with my special guest, Dennis Canoehound Rogers. 56-year-old Canadian graphic designer from Ontario, Canada, Dennis Canoehound Rogers hosts his very own 2-hour live outdoors show, airing Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Canoehound's Outdoor Adventure Show is in its second season and has hosted some of Canada's biggest names in outdoor adventuring. Dennis and his wife and their 2 daughters reside in Niagara, Ontario, Canada, and along with doing his popular show, working and spending time with his family, Dennis takes every opportunity to enjoy the outdoors by fishing, canoeing, hiking, and camping. Well, with that, welcome to the show, Dennis.
Hey, how you doing, CW?
I'm great. How are you?
Living a dream. Living the dream.
Aren't we all, right?
Jeez.
How is your weather up there in Dreamland?
You know what? It hasn't been too bad. I think spring has come a little early this year, which is a good thing. Nobody likes the snow, but typically, I think we're seeing seasonal weather around here. 60s.
I know you're okay. Fahrenheit 60s. That's good. Cause usually I get it in Celsius and I'm like, hell, where's my conversion chart?
I'm 56 years old. I'm still old school, but I got to mix them both in there. So.
Good for you. I even had to ask Callan. I go, Kevin, convert that for me, will you? Cause really,
yeah.
So what was I going to, you guys had like snow though about a week ago, didn't you?
We had our fall blast. Usually we get that sometime in March. This time we got it late April, and we had about probably close to 8 or 9 inches in my area down here in Niagara, but it melted away in like 3 days.
Wait a minute. 8 or 9 inches?
We got a wallop of snow. Yeah. We were supposed to get around 4 to 6 in the town that I'm in. Yeah, we ended up with about it was deep. It was
deep.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was all in one fall.
That was one dump. I think we got more snow in that dumping than we had all
I
winter.
can tell you. I used to run a snowplow here. I don't know if I think I told you that for state of Illinois. 8 inches of snow. You called
it something different. I can't remember what you called it. Chasing lines or something. I don't know.
Oh, chasing snowflake or pushing snowflakes down the interstate. Yeah. We would freak out at 8 inches of snow. That'd be like a big deal down here until you got, another 8 inches, not a problem. We got it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite a difference between our areas. I got to ask you, how did you get the name Canoehound? I don't, we've talked before off the air. We've had private chats. I don't think I've asked you that. So how did you get that name, Dennis?
You know what? It's a funny story. When I've been canoeing now for over 30 years, and I got a regular crew of guys that we paddle with quite often. And I would get up in the mornings on this one year on this one trip. I don't know why. And I'd get up and I was the first one up, And I'd say everybody else should be up too. Hey, so I go down by the waterfront and I just start howling, right?
I'm sure you were popular. Yeah.
I think it was my cousin who he kind of got a little perturbed. Eh? He goes, would you shut up, Canoehound? Right, and it kind of stuck.
That was where that came from.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, and then it's kind of transgressed over the years. You know. Yeah. It's
I like that,
and it stuck. So.
Hey, we had somebody, Roxy, my producer here. We had somebody chime in early, even actually before the show. Can you throw that back up there on this screen? Yeah, that's that's your buddy. Okay, yeah. Hello, Dennis of Canoehound's Outdoor Adventure Show. It's your friends of the James Bay Frontier, Timmins. So, how you doing? Thanks for chiming in.
I do a lot of canoeing up that area, and if I make it up there this year, I'm probably going to stop in and say hi to Tim. So
very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
Dennis, what motivated you to create your show? I mean, was it something you always aspired to do, or was it something else?
You know what? I'm a YouTube junkie when it comes down to it. So, I could self-proclaim that. But over my time on YouTube, I've got a lot of friends on YouTube, or acquaintances that you meet on YouTube, and we would frequent each other's live streams and stuff like that. And I always thought it would be a really cool idea if I could sort of talk to or interview the people that I follow on a frequent basis, right? There's a lot of YouTubers that I really admire, look up to, watch, and, never miss their videos. And one day I just thought, you know what? I wonder if anybody's doing this. So I started doing a little bit of research around, and couldn't really find anything that was like, a regular show. There were other live streamers just talking and stuff. So I was talking to a good friend of mine on YouTube, Sty North, from the YouTube channel Sty North, and run it by him. I said, "What do you think? You think that's a good idea?" He says, "Yeah, man, that'd be a great idea, right?" So, and so he was my very first guest, and right from there it kind of took off. It just slowly, like a snowball, just kept building bigger and bigger in size. So,
were you nervous for that first episode, or did it come like a piece of cake to you?
You know what? Not the first one, because the first one or two were actually with people that I spoke with all the time on YouTube anyways.
Okay.
My first real guest of a person that I didn't really know of too much was a fellow by the name of Martin. Pine Martin is his YouTube channel.
Okay.
And that was a relaxed one, but when I interviewed Kevin Callan, who I've kind of looked up to for years, like many people do, because the guy's done it all when it comes to a paddle in his hand. He's got all these trips, all these books. He knows his stuff. And when it came to interviewing Kevin, I was a little nervous on that one. A little nervous.
Were you really?
Yeah, not overly. I'm probably more nervous tonight being interviewed than doing the interview. So, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Well, let me ask you this, and like my show has gone through some transitions since I started this thing, but has your show gone through any transitions since you first began 2 years ago, or have you pretty much retained the original structure of your show?
You know what? I think it's pretty much along the same lines. I try to keep the show now to like within like a 2-hour period. I can explain how I like my show to be structured, but it's kind of maintained that. But back at the beginning, I had a couple of like 5-hour live streams and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
It's not like yours where it's got to become in a nutshell, because it's going to be a podcast and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. But now that was like just because we would get chatting at the end of the show, and things would just keep going on and on and on. And why not keep everybody involved if they're interested, right?
Sure, absolutely.
But for the most part, no, the show's it has been maintaining the same type of structure. I thought about changing the formatting a bit, but at this time it seems to work, so I'll just keep it the way it is.
Yeah. If you wanted to, if you thought, you know what, I am going to change some things, what kind of stuff would you add to it? I mean,
I don't even know if it would be adding it. I think it would be subtracting, taking away from it. But I'm afraid to do that just because, people have come to enjoy the show the way it is. If they've had enough, they know where the off button is, right? It's the truth.
That's true. Right? Yeah.
But I know the 2-hour time frame, can be a bit long. But like I say, it works for me, and I think I'll just keep it that way. If I need to change it, I always ask my viewers if they have any suggestions to let me know, and if they let me know, I always act on it. So,
do you get quite a bit of feedback from people when you throw that out there to everyone and say, hey, let me know, here Mustang 774, if it works, and it does, don't change it. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, Mustang. Yeah. I listen. I always ask for input, especially when it comes to topics and guests on the show.
Mm-hmm.
After all, I am doing the show for myself, but I'm also doing it for the people that are watching and viewing, right?
Sure.
And if they want to see something that is of interest to them, then by all means, I will. I'll try and bring that to them. So I'm always asking for topic ideas or guest ideas.
Yeah.
And that really comes into play and helps me big time, because it's not easy, as you probably, or you might know, it's not always easy trying to chase down guests. It could get a little difficult at times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Has anybody ever suggested like some super big, huge, like Elvis or something like that? And you're going, I can't get Elvis, first of all. But
yeah.
I mean, do they ever give you somebody that's like, there's no way I'd even know how to get a hold of that guy? You ever get that?
Yeah, well, there are a couple. There's a couple that I would really like to see on the show, and I have been in contact with them. And they're very busy, right? Some of these bigger YouTubers are they're always out on these adventures. I'll give you an example. Jim Baird was like that. I had a very hard time tracking him down because that guy's got wheels on his feet. He's always in motion, right? Yeah.
He's a roller skater, right? Not a roller skater.
Then finally we nailed him down, right? Well, I nailed him down. I shouldn't use that term, but finally we did set something up, and it was a fantastic show. But there's a couple of YouTubers, Sean James, you might be familiar with him from My Self-Reliance.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very popular guy, but he doesn't do a lot of this type of thing. Not to say that I won't have him on the show someday. Hopefully I will. If anybody knows Sean, I know a couple people that know him, but put the word in. Another one, Justin Barber from out in Newfoundland. He's another guy. He's like Jim Baird. He's got wheels on his feet. He's always out on his major treks. So he wants to be on the show, but it's just a matter of nailing down a date, right? That's the hard time.
Yeah. You said Justin Barber, right?
Justin Barber, yeah.
Not Justin Bieber.
Not Justin Bieber. I don't think you'll ever see that guy on my show. I don't care how popular he is.
do you sing, son?
Yeah,
exactly. Here we go. Lance is chiming in here. Good evening from the UK. Have you ever interviewed anyone from my side of the pond?
You know what? I have had a couple international guests. Really early on in the game, there's this young lady that I follow on Instagram. She goes by the Instagram name of the Bushcraft Daughter. Her name's Millie Johns.
Okay.
Just a young lady. She's like 14. She's probably 15 years old now. We still stay in touch through Instagram once in a while. Mm-hmm. And I interviewed her. She was living at the time in New Zealand. Now she is over in Sweden. Another fella from, oh gosh, where's Ralph? He's from Germany area, Rathwoven Bushcraft. But the hardest part with overseas is time frame.
Yeah. I've done that. It's like, they're staying up till like 1 o'clock in the morning to be on your show.
Exactly. Yeah. So
God bless them for that.
And there's a lot of great personalities over there. I would love to have on the show, believe me. Yeah.
I just like to sit and drink with some of them. I think that would be entertaining enough. Just to, have beers.
Nice heavy stout, eh?
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, he's on number 6, and I'm still finishing my first one, and I'm, pretty strong over there from what I understand. In fact, I did have one when I was in Ukraine about a year and a half ago, and they are stronger. Yeah. Dennis, what actually is the most challenging part of hosting your own show, would you say?
In my case, I'm a one-man show. Trying to, I use the same StreamYard setup that you use here, trying to keep track of the chat, trying to conduct an interview, trying to, pull messages up on the chat. Also some of the interactive things that we have here on StreamYard, like, putting up, screens, and it's difficult. It's very difficult to try and do it as a one-man show. I need to hire a production crew. right? But
I had to tell you, I have no idea how you do that, because I realized, I've come to realize what my producer engineer, because she does both jobs, what she does. I mean, I know what they do, but I really didn't realize how much this, this television stuff for this broadcasted really is to it. And she saves my butt week after week. I have no idea how you do that, Dennis, on your own, and then still be the host of your show. So I say salute, kudos to you.
thanks. Like I say, many hats, right?
Yeah. I'm a dummy. I would never know how to do
beers. A couple of beers during the show.
I'd have to. I wouldn't do well. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So,
I have to give credit though to all my viewers too. Like that chat over there. When people are watching, they understand. A lot of times some of the questions will get by me. It's some really good questions, right?
Yeah.
But they understand that I'm wearing many hats, and it's hard to see everybody's questions. So,
well, here's the thing, falling right in line with that. I mean, by trade, you're a graphic designer. So how do you manage putting together a 2-hour show each week, with having a full-time job, plus raising a family? I mean, that has to be quite a challenge.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry, I'm chuckling inside as you're asking that, right? It is difficult being a graphic designer and having my own business.
Do you drink
a
little,
have a good
Dennis?
team of people underneath me, right?
Do you drink a little? Have to manage all that.
No,
I would.
No, that's one thing I'm not. My younger days, I used to like to put them back quite a bit, but
Sure.
You know what? Nowadays, 1 or 2 beers or a bourbon or two, and I'm quite happy, right? But yeah.
Well, I imagine you got this whole day going on, and maybe you had a good day, but maybe you didn't, and now you got to work on this show, and like you said, you got to make contact with your guests, and maybe you have to chase them down. That's got to be a lot of stress, man. I mean,
it is. It is. Yourself. There's so much that goes into this. People that watch on that side, all they see is the production. They see
this
product. Yeah, they see the finished product, right?
Right.
For me, like a typical day, I go to work. I get my team organized. They get the ball rolling, and like I said, I got a good team that I have working underneath me at the shop. That coupled with COVID right now, right?
Oh, right.
It has us slowed down a little bit at work, right? So that frees up a little bit of time. But yeah, you know what? A lot of time goes into it. I come home from work, have dinner, maybe watch an episode or two of whatever the wife and I are watching at the time. And then I come down here and I'm back in front of the computer and making contact with people, setting up the show, writing show itineraries up. There's a lot that goes into it, right? And then trying to make sure that your guests remember it's showtime,
that
right?
There's a show they have to be there for. Yeah,
I had that happen once. That's scary.
I gotta tell you, knock on wood, I haven't, but I've always been scared that it will. I did have that happen, but it wasn't the day of the show. It was the week before the show, and I always make contact and say, "Hey, we got to do this." And I had the two snake guys on, Mark and Mr. Jeffries. I can't remember his first name, but they saved my butt. They really saved my butt. Yeah, that's always nerve wracking, isn't it? I mean, if you're going, I hope the guest remembers, because you can't go there and
Oh. I had an instance there. It was probably a month and a half ago. The guests I was to have on, the guys from the hiking podcast, and they're in a different time zone, right? Much like you are to me here.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I always ask my guests to be on a good 15, 20 minutes before the show, so we can have the pre-show chat and make sure all the kinks are all worked out and everything. And I'm waiting and waiting. It's like 5 minutes to, and I usually start my pre-show intro video 3 minutes before, right, to let people know it's ready to start. And I'm on the phone with them. Hey, it's like, where are you guys? and the one guy, Jeremiah, he's like, oh man, I didn't realize that we're time difference. He says, I'm eating dinner. Wow. I'll be right there, right?
Wow.
So it was by the skin of our teeth, right?
Good thing you did that.
Oh, but it come together.
Yeah. I'm eating dinner, but I'll be right off.
Oh yeah,
that's great. Yeah. Hey, okay. Well, let's go back here, Rex. You had Mustang 774. That was an interesting show about the snakes. Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, yeah, those guys were great, man. And they really did save my butt. And it was not just a put together last minute put together show. It was quickly assembled, but those guys did a phenomenal job. And you got to go, Dennis, if you ever have to do that and have somebody come in and they do a phenomenal job, you're like, oh, you saved me. Man, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Casey Happy Camper. Hey, we know that guy.
Hey, good old
Hi.
Kevin.
Yeah. Hi, Tunis Richards. Okay, wait. Oh, let's go back. I didn't get that one, Roxy. There's a freak of nature. Have you caught a brook trout yet this spring? Tunis, yes, sir. I'm wondering how to do this conversation for them. Bites starting around these parts. Next video's got some action in it, so we want to tune it. We want to see what's going on. We want to see the fish. Just show us the fish. Get some good fish, will you? Want some good pictures.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Dennis, in the show's 2-year run, which episode has been your most memorable?
Oh my gosh, there's been so many.
I mean, which one? And I didn't want to say, hey, who's your favorite guest? Because now you got to pick out somebody, and everybody else is like, really, I thought I was your, But which one was your most memorable? I mean, something that just sticks in your mind forever. You'll never forget it.
Yeah, well, you know what? Can I just quickly ramble off a couple? Because you know
what?
Get
one. No, I'm just joking. You can
Jim Baird's been on the show. Well, the whole Baird clan has been on the show. Jim, his brother Ted, and his wife Tori, right? But all individual shows. But so, it was pretty cool to have them on because I'm a Alone fan, right?
Yeah,
the History Channel show Alone, and they were the winner of season. What was that? Season 3, I believe.
Okay.
And it was really cool to have them on the show, right? Joe Robinette was another memorable one. Sean Shug Emery, he's like a hammock camping aficionado.
Mm-hmm.
Kylan Marone from Alone as well, another great show. So yeah, I've had quite a few memorable ones for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Not really just one that stands out in your mind and going, oh my gosh.
You know what? Ultimately, I would have to say probably the one with Jim Baird because even after the show went on and on, like in the green room. I think we were in the green room for probably 3.5 hours after.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a good show. He really opened up about some of his adventures and stuff, and that was a really good show. So yeah.
I read a little bit about that and what he went through on the show. In fact, I take that back. I think I heard from Tori was talking about that one night, and quite a bit. Well, that's very cool. That's very cool. Okay, so here's the. I think you're old enough to remember this. Here is the.
Oh, can't hear you, CW. Your volume's gone.
There's that mute button again, right?
There's that mute button. We got you back.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, and my speakers just went crazy here too, and on my laptop. So, you know what? Okay, I think
I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only one that has electrical gremlins when it comes to show time.
It's absolutely like every show over here or something. So don't feel like the Lone Ranger.
No, good stuff.
When you tell me things like that, I go, thank you, Dennis. I'm not the only one that has things like that go on either. So I think we're both in the same boat there.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, or this, have you ever had a disaster? Let me try this in English. Have you ever had a disaster episode? And you just mentioned this, like the guest didn't show up or had to cancel at the last moment. Or here we go. Technical difficulties that just messed everything up for you. You ever have one of those?
I don't even know if I want to talk about it.
No one knows
I almost
why
give up doing the
show.
We had about 4 or 5 weeks ago. We had Camper Christina on. She was on to talk about a program or a course that she just started on Udemy. Udemy. It's a like an online course where you're going to learn how to backcountry camp for beginners type of thing, right? Okay. And at the beginning in the green room, I was having technical difficulties, and I thought it was on their end. It was all my end. Our internet was out in our whole, in our town here, right?
Wow.
And I wasn't aware, but it kept popping in and popping out. So if it wasn't for Camper Christina, if she's watching or she catches this show, thanks very much, because I'll tell you, she carried the show. I was ready to pull the plug, and she kept talking about her program, and she saved my bacon. So yes, have I had a disaster show from a standpoint of technical issues? That was the show right there. But
yeah. So you I'm glad that it's not just me. In fact, I had one was it a couple of weeks ago with Jillian Brown, and I had all kinds of problems. And these people like Christina and Jillian, bam, they're just keeping. I'm like, what a true professional, man. And you got to go salute.
There we go. See, Mustang 774 knows. Yeah, she did an awesome job. And like I say, she really saved my bacon on, what saved me at the end of the night, I ended up hooking up my cell phone, which I have here for backup tonight, just in case too.
Yeah. And, you mentioned that. Yeah, we had some of that before the show, didn't we? You were popping out there for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I did once too. Sometimes it sucks being in I tell you, the country is wonderful, as you know, but sometimes we get deprived of certain things that the folks closer to town don't have to. They get the full internet service, and we're like, is it going to work tonight? I don't know. I hope so. I got a show.
Yeah.
So yeah. Add that on to what is that? Add insult to injury. You're already nervous enough, and then you have to worry about technical things. Dennis, have you noticed any changes in the outdoor community within the past decade or so? I mean, in regard to etiquette and really just the attitude of new adventures.
You know what? The last decade, but you know what? The last year and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're living that right now, right? With all this going on, everybody's looking for this escape, and they want to get outdoors now, right?
Yeah.
It's evident in the booking programs for however you're booking your campsites and stuff like that. But there's all these new people that are wanting to get out. They want to get out of these four walls that bind us in, and they want to get outside now, right?
Yeah.
And yes, it is causing etiquette issues and stuff like that. Say for instance on a canoe portage, people blocking up the portage. Etiquette when it comes to leaving trash at a campsite. Toilet paper roses scattered around a campsite.
Wait a minute. What would you call that? Toilet paper
roses. Yeah, that's what I call them. Anyways, I'm sure there's a lot of different names for them. But you know what? A lot of it comes down to people just not knowing. I don't think it's them being rude or ignorant. It's just them being not knowledgeable of proper etiquette in the backcountry, right? So, and that's what we're facing now. We got to change that through educating people, right? People like yourself, like myself, like all the people that we talk to, we're the ones that need to educate those that don't know better.
And unfortunately, those people that need the education probably don't watch either of our shows.
Right. Not yet.
How do you
working on that, right?
Right. You're right. Yeah. And then how do you reach them otherwise? So that's really a big question.
Yeah.
Tunis, couldn't agree more. Lack of education.
Yep.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but don't go away. We'll be right back with more of the Camping Show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV after these messages.
It is time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sites, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
And we are back with our guest, Dennis Canoehound Rogers, here on the Camping Show. Dennis, yesterday was your 30th wedding anniversary, and by the way, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. So how'd you celebrate? What'd you do?
Sloppy Joes for dinner.
I got to tell you something. I caught your show last night, and I already had these questions laid out to you, but I learned on the show you said I couldn't even take her out to dinner. Is that right?
Yeah, well, you know what? Here in Ontario, we're in a province-wide lockdown, right? Basically, they don't want you going anywhere. All restaurants are closed except for takeout and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
you know what? We uh, we have a very tight circle with our children, our daughters. One daughter's married, and I have a grandson with with a grandson on that side, and then my other daughter's in a close relationship with a grandson there too.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in this very tight circle. So we did see the daughters yesterday, and hence the what do you call it there, the sloppy Joe dinner.
Right.
But then I come rushing home to do my show yesterday. So it was that's how we pretty much celebrated. You know, I'll make it up to the wife, but you know what? In all reality, my wife and I, we get along so good that, and I'm not bragging, but we get along so good that every day is an anniversary to us. So
yeah, that is very cool. That is very cool. And congratulations to you guys. You know, I have to tell you, and I'm going to read that, Roxy, when I'm finished. But yeah, I wanted to say this. You know, thank your wife. Kudos to your wife for letting you do the show yesterday on your anniversary, because I probably wouldn't have gotten away with that. Of course,
I asked her, and she says, "What else are we gonna do?" Right? So she sat down. Actually, when I come home from my daughter's house, she stayed there because she has to spend time with the grandson, right? So
right. Yeah. Well, you know, good for you, Cheryl. I mean, and good for you, Dennis. I mean, that's very cool. A very, very cool wife. Yeah, I didn't get away with that. Of course, I'm divorced, so that pretty much speaks on its own, I guess. If let's put Kevin. Okay, so hey, Dennis and CW, I'm filming with Gary the Puppet tomorrow to try and change that ethic issue. We're calling it Gary Makes Me Nervous. True story. All right, we got to see.
That's going to be something to behold. Let me tell you.
You know, I think Mr. Callan missed his calling. I really think he would have been in show business. He would have been like the next Jerry Seinfeld or somebody like that, or even better. You know, like maybe the Robin Williams. You know, Kevin's very talented in many areas, and he's just quite an excellent personality.
I keep telling Kevin that he needs to set it up so I can get Gary the Puppet on my show.
There you go. Absolutely.
To shake things up a bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. What was that, like Kuka, Fred, and Ali or something like that? Yeah. I love that.
Showing our age.
I was just going to say that. Nobody's like, who the hell is that, man? I knew this was going to be fun. And of course it is fun when we can recall all this stuff. We're the same age here. Yeah. So when you're not on the air, Dennis, or spending time with the family and not working on your business, what's your absolute favorite outdoors thing to do? Now, is it actually canoeing, or perhaps something otherwise that wouldn't maybe be obvious to everyone?
You know, I have a lot of interest. My wife tells me, "What's your new hobby of the week?" Right? Pretty much. But you know what? In all reality, I've been canoeing for well over 30 years now. I've taken on many different hobbies. You know, sports, baseball, hockey. You know, mountain biking. Well, I still do mountain bike from time to time too, but the ultimate go back to is always my canoe trips. Without fail, I haven't missed a year in over 30 plus years. That with the backcountry camping, of course, well, they go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
But sure. Canoeing is truly my passion. If I could be in a canoe 365 days a year, it would happen. Unfortunately, I do have responsibilities. So
yeah. That's pretty cool. That's a love. That's a passion. Yes. What were you like as a kid, Dennis? I mean, and what kind of things were you into back then?
Well, here, let me put my mom on the phone. She might have a different opinion than I do.
Does your mom know Kevin's mom? Is this kind of a
no, but they should know each other. They should get together for tea sometime, right?
That'd be great.
You know, even as a kid, Boy Scouts. I was always outside. Mind you, we didn't have video games and stuff like that, or computers that keep the kids tied up nowadays. But I was always outside. Street hockey, building a fort in the backyard. I'd be gone for hours on end on my bike, and my parents would be searching the neighborhood for me, thinking I've gone missing or been kidnapped. Right. Wow. And it's because my buddies and I would be out riding trails and stop and build a tree fort or whatever. Always at the local community pool, right? In the summertime, ice skating in the parks in the wintertime. I was always outside. I've always enjoyed the outdoors.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did you get in trouble when you didn't show up for supper?
I had a couple, a couple spankings there.
Yeah.
Not legal nowadays, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, right. Yeah. You can't discipline anybody now because, that would be just wrong, evil.
Yep.
I understand you also have a bit of a musical background, Dennis. What you want to tell us about that?
Oh, I had a musical background.
Were you a rock star too?
Yeah.
Like Mr. Callan?
Yeah. Well, actually, just like Kevin, I play the drums. I back when I was a kid, my parents tried to put me in accordion lessons, and that kind of didn't fly. Right.
Oh, wow.
My mother's Maltese descent, right? So the polka music and everything, even though I know that's Polish and stuff, right? But they had a love for that. My grandfather played in a big band. He played drums in a big band, and he had the softest hands. Like that, he could make the drums talk, right? Wow. And from my parents wanting to put me in accordion lessons, and they go, okay, how about guitar? I don't think they wanted to hear the boom boom in the house, right?
Right. What parent does?
Exactly. So ultimately, I won.
There you go.
I ended up self-teaching myself drums. Played for many years as a teenager. A few bands, the teenage bands. Played in a couple of 50s, 60s bands when I was, into my late 20s and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, nothing really big, right? Like we played a couple of gigs in bars and stuff, and that was about it. But ultimately, I worked in a factory for many years in the automotive industry, and a work injury basically put a stop to my drumming. I injured my elbow and had several surgeries on it, and that kind of put the kibosh to that, right? So. But
were you a stick twirler when you were doing the drums? Were you a flashy?
We all played with that, right? If you, you do the twirl between the fingers and stuff, right? Interesting fact: I went to the same high school that Neil Peart went to.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I built a drum for Neil.
Oh, I remember you telling me that in the green room there last time. Yeah,
he was cool. The first celebrity that I built a drum for. Yeah, he was he was my idol growing up too. I'm sure he was yours as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also add, I am the best air drummer and steering wheel drummer this side of I could knock out a beat on that steering wheel, I'll tell you.
I mentioned I was divorced, right? That was one of the reasons that's one of the things that got me there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you have to, and you tap on everything. It's how does that go? I'm not this way because I'm in a band. I'm in a band because I am this way, That sort of
like
thing.
That one. That's a good one.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump to canoeing since you brought that. What's the one trip that is still on your bucket list that you've been going, man, before I die, I have to do this trip?
Mm-hmm. I've done a lot of really good canoe trips over the years. The one trip that I've been wanting to do, and the only reason I haven't done it, it's all based on time, and that's probably the entire Mizunabie water system, like right from the town of Mizunabie all the way down to Moose Factory, right down in Moosonee. Never had the ability to do that because basically you're probably looking almost a month to shoot that baby, right?
Yeah.
And this guy just can't do it, right? Like I say, being married for 30 years, I can't leave my family for that long. Probably the same reason why I could never be on alone if they ever approach me. I'm a family oriented guy. I really love my family.
Bring them with you.
Yeah, well, yeah. I would consider that, but I think my wife would have
it otherwise.
Opinion on that one, right? But that's the whole time thing. I've done a lot of the Mizunabie headwaters, like I've done the whole Mizunabie Lake Loop, and like through all the lakes in that system.
Right.
And now I need to do the upper Miz. I'll probably have to do it in sections, and then the lower Miz, right? So
okay. Break it up. Yeah. So but that's the trip that you're going, I'm going to do that. I have to do that.
I'd love to do it one day. I'll tell you, I've got the books here. Hap Wilson's book has been sitting on my shelf for many years to do that trip. And
but you're pretty sure it's going to happen.
By hook or by crook, I hope.
I think by hook or by crook. There we go. I haven't heard that one for a while either.
Yeah.
What was, we had a comment up there, Rex, you want to? Oh, it's Kevin again. Kevin says, question, Dennis, of all the people you interviewed, who was the base lead guitar, rhythm, and lead singer. Who was?
Gee. Kevin's always got these kinds of questions. Eh? Knock it off, Callan. Well, you know what? Right here, CW Gets. You're a guitar player, are you not?
I'm actually a drummer. I was.
You're a drummer too.
Yep, all three.
Okay, there's not enough room for 3 drummers in this band.
I was thinking the same thing, and I thought, well, what are we going to do? We'll just take turns trading fours, or what? Remember that term, trading fours?
Yeah. How many bands out there? Last one I remember was they had 2 drummers. They sang a song, Teacher, can you teach?
That was 38 Special.
38 Special, yeah.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, I remember that.
Yeah. But, I don't know.
Actually, the Doobie Brothers had 2 drummers at one time, too. And actually, my friend Keith Knutson was one of them. But then they just went to Keith. And so the other, that was kind of a fad thing, 2 drummers, for a while. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I hope that trip happens for you, by the way, because I know what that bucket thing is like. Yeah. I was talking about doing the Amazon this summer, and I have a friend in Brazil, but that's not going to happen now because COVID, would dictate otherwise, just like everybody else's trips. But
sure,
yeah, I know that bucket list thing. Let me ask
you know what though? Honestly, CW, if I never did get that trip in, I've done so many amazing trips. You know what? Every trip is amazing. I don't think I could really say one trip has ever been bad.
Oh, that's cool.
Because the adventure comes through adversity, right? And it's,
If you can say that you've never had a bad trip, you've had a good life, man. Because I have had bad trips. And good for you. Very good for you. I had one camping trip. It actually was, it didn't involve canoes, but it was the trip from hell. And yeah, that's one I'll never forget. I know that. Yeah. Good for you, though.
I always say some of the worst trips are the ones you remember the most. Right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. Tunis, I feel like Callan can take lead singer.
Oh,
can he sing? I don't know. I've never heard him sing.
I don't know, but maybe he'd be a Phil Collins in disguise, eh?
We get him with enough of that whiskey fireside chat, and we'll have to get him to sing. We'll see how that works out. Yep. I know he's laughing right now. He's sitting at home. Hey, Dennis, I got to ask you this. What kind of changes, if any, in the outdoor community do you think need to take place in the near future? I mean, in other words, are there any, or I should say, is there any immediate need that should be addressed right at the moment in this community? What do you think there is? What would it be?
Yeah, it's always a hot topic, right? And it goes back to the whole etiquette thing. I think this is what I'm going to explain is like sort of this is for everywhere, right?
Sure.
We have our issues here in Ontario with parks fees and all this stuff or whatever, right? But when it comes down to it, it's just trying to educate people. Ultimately, telling people it's not all right to cut down a live tree for firewood. It's not going to do you any good, and you're destroying.
Good point.
What's out there for everybody. You have to be respectful of of nature, and you have to be respectful of the people that are going to be walking in your footsteps after you, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are all things that need to change, and it all comes through education. And us as sort of, and I don't like using this term, but as people that are in the limelight or the community leaders, we have to try and stress the right things, the proper things to do. And not always a do as I say, not as I do type of thing, right? Right. When it comes to wearing a life jacket, say, for instance, you don't wear your life jacket, say, but you should wear a life jacket. You should wear a life jacket. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But who's to say who's right and who's wrong? That's the tough part.
Yeah. I totally, I understand where you're coming from there. I was kind of raised like that, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
And
thanks, Dad.
Yeah. Nobody likes that, and it's like, really,
Yeah.
But I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a clinic here in about 2 weeks. I don't know, it's the 22nd of May, just a local free thing. And I'm going to educate people there about stuff like we're talking about. I think that's probably the only way you can do it. Just go out and do it in your community and just tell people, because they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't know. And it's great that they're into the outdoors thing. I mean, that's what we've all been shooting for and all been working toward for some years, right? I mean, guys like you and Kevin and Cliff, But now they're there. What do you do?
Mhm.
You know, I guess you just have to go out and politely, you know,
Yeah.
say, here's some etiquette for you, you know, right?
Well, that's the whole thing, right? Like I say, people. I honestly think people go out there with goodness in their hearts, right? And they
Yeah.
don't realize that what they might be doing is not proper or appropriate out there.
Right.
You know, it's just lack of knowledge. You know, everybody can watch a YouTube video and think that they can go out there and be Superman or Superwoman, right? And
Right,
it's not
right.
always the case, right? It's maybe watch a few more YouTube videos and get to be a bit more familiar with it, or do some more research online, or follow shows like yours where you're teaching people or explaining, not telling but explaining or teaching
Right.
people
Well,
what
and I think
how it should be done, perhaps, right?
I think you could actually look that up on the internet or on YouTube. Etiquette, trail etiquette, canoe etiquette. And I'm sure there's videos and everything else out there. There's videos how to blow your nose.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be a video about, some trail etiquette or some paddling etiquette, that sort of thing. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Dennis.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Okay, in life or with the show?
The whole
here?
9 yards. The whole 9 yards.
You know what?
Yeah, show included, everything. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Our family now is at that stage where it's starting to grow, right? As I mentioned, grandson just celebrated his 6-month birthday there on the 1st of May.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that at an early age, I want to get him into. I'm his papa, right? So I want to get him into the canoe as early as I can.
Yeah.
Want to try and get him to be an outdoorsy type of person and not a computer person, right?
Right.
So in 5 years, I would really like to see myself. I don't know if I'll be retired or not yet. That's
sounds good,
road.
Doesn't it? Though?
but I'd like to see myself outdoors more. I'd like to see myself out there a little more. I know over the last few years, I've taken my 2 trips a summer. To the last few years, I've been doing 3, 4, 5 adventures. Mind you, summer's short, but they're not all long,
of course. Right.
But I could see myself hopefully, just still living the good life, right?
Yeah. And that's really it. I mean, healthy, knock on wood, everything.
Yeah.
Just being able to do what you enjoy doing. That's, that's awesome enough right there. But yeah. And that's cool that you're raising your grandson, or trying to influence your grandson in that way.
Yeah. Well, so far he loves his papa. He goes a little goofy when he sees me, right? So
it's
nothing
wrong with that.
Yeah, it's a warming feeling inside, and
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You're a rock star to him, and you're a rock star to us.
Well, thank you.
So absolutely. So I would expect him to do nothing other than that. So yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Dennis, you've got a lot of social media here, so I'm going to ask you to tell us where listeners can go to follow you. Actually, viewers and listeners can go to follow you on social media, and then also where they can go to tune into your live weekly broadcast, Canoehound's Outdoor Adventure Show. So, want to let them know?
Well, we'll start with Canoehound's Outdoor Adventure Show. If anybody's interested in watching the show, which is a show that brings you closer to the great outdoors, we go live. We live stream every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That there is from about 7 until about 9 o'clock. The show runs first hour is basically interview with person or personalities related to a topic or a guest. We do a swag giveaway after that point, and then we switch over to what I call overtime. And it's a lot of banter like this. I invite guests up onto the panel to ask questions of our guests, talk about topics, leave comments, whatever. So yeah, you can find that on Canoehound Adventures. Everything you got right there. You've got canoehoundadventures.com as our website. That's just a new website that we put on there. We got merch and stuff. And then of course you can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
You know what? We forgot to blast some pictures up here. Roxy, can you show a couple of these real quick? I had these ready to go, and I apologize. We're going to run a minute over because I want to show some of these pictures. There, without a beard. I mean, that looks cool. And you look like somebody I've seen on TV, but that's a great picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny.
There you go. Handsome dude. Look at this guy. I love it. I love it. There's you on the show. Very good picture there. There's another one. I like that keyboard. I really do.
Yeah.
That looks like a disco keyboard. This is the picture I used
keyboard.
on the promo.
That's my computer replacement for, like you said earlier, getting rid of the Mac.
All right. This fish picture, I'm telling you, is that what is that? Is that a northern? What is
that's
that?
That's a 15-pound lake trout out of the Niagara.
Oh,
River.
lake trout. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not a big fisher. That's the one I used on the promo. It was a cool picture. Yeah, and this is on your property, by the way, is it not?
No, it's not my property. I have a day camp at a property. There's a property close to me, and I have permission from the landowner. He's got a huge farm, and this is his bush lot.
Very cool.
And he's given me permission to go back there and play in the sticks. So
yeah, because you cook a lot outdoors. That's very cool.
Yeah.
And then there we go. Canoe trip.
Yeah, portage up in Naganash Lake. That's on Naganash or on the Smoky River.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another one I used in the promo. That's very cool. I like that.
Cooking with a reflector oven, making some cinnamon rolls there.
Cinnamon rolls, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Loving it. There is you and Mr. Callan. Hey, this is the one, by the way. You look like some celebrity on TV. I swear to you. I don't remember who it is. Yes, you. And I don't remember who that is, but that you look like a rock star that I've known in the past.
I could tell you a funny story about that picture right there. my daughter took that picture, and after we took off from Kevin, because this is probably one of the first times I had ever met Kevin, right? And I've been reading his books, and I've done a ton of his canoe routes and stuff. Mm-hmm. And kudos to the guy because he knows his stuff, and I appreciate his friendship. But this is the first time I met Kevin, eh? Oh. And as we're walking away, my daughter says, "Dad, you were fangirling."
Rockstar. I love it.
And I did the same thing with when I met Hap Wilson at the same show. So yeah.
Yeah, I know what that's like. Absolutely. I totally understand. So, well, Dennis, I want to thank you for being my guest here on the camping show. It was an absolute pleasure having you, and really very cool stuff, very cool stories, and a very cool life you got. So kudos to you, sir.
Thank you very much. This is a blast having you on. I enjoyed having you on my episode there. So if anybody wants to check that out, they can go back in the library.
That was a lot of fun. Very much fun, too. So, well, I hope you'll tune in for next week's episode, Discovering a Personal Calling with special guest Alex Savati. Until then, thank you for tuning into the camping show. This is CW Getz reminding you, learn more, do more. See you next week.